everybody, and welcome to today's video. Today I have a new piece of power equipment, or new to me anyhow. This is the Weed Eater Power Blower 940. Now they call this the 940 model, I believe, because it takes no less than 940 pulls to get the engine to start. And this is new to me, but this is actually rather old. In fact, I remember my dad had a very similar leaf blower to this when I was growing up, and I was probably 25 or 30 years ago. And I remember that leaf blower barely ever ran. It usually didn't run. Usually we pulled the cord a lot and got some good exercise pulling the cord, but that was pretty much it. We never actually really used it to blow leaves. Just for exercise. Part of the reason that it takes so many times to pull the cord is because there's actually no primer on this. The only controls is a switch for the ignition. So basically, if you have it on, it might start, probably won't. If you have it off, it certainly won't start, and that will shut the engine off if it did start. It also has a speed control. Most modern leaf blowers have like a finger switch up here to pull to control how fast the engine's running and how hard it's blowing. This one does not. It has just a knob on the back where you can adjust that speed. Then it has another knob for choke. So there's actually two knobs. Neither one of them is labeled that have an on-off setting. This one is the choke. Really you can have on. There's kind of a middle position, and then there's off. And the ignition switch is just on and off. So I did check this already. It has gas in it. I paid $5 for this, and somehow it has gas. And that $5 is probably $5 more than this is worth. But we'll see if we can get it to run. I don't believe that it does, but I haven't tried it yet. Maybe I'll get lucky and it will start, but I'm gonna guess that this is probably coming apart to get the carburetor clean before it does anything useful. So anyhow, let's see if this will start. All right, so to start this, it actually has instructions printed on the top here, and the instructions basically say move the ignition switch to on, which it is. Adjust the throttle knob clockwise to the fast position. So let's turn that all the way to fast. Turn choke knob to the on position, so that is on. Hold handle with right hand and pull starter quickly until engine fires, which I think takes 940 pulls according to the number on the side. So this is bringing back childhood memories already, and I did check the fuel. There is fuel in it. My assumption is that this has just been sitting a while. The carburetor's probably plugged up, maybe completely plugged up. So the next step really here, before I pull it, the actual 940 required times, is probably just to pull the carburetor off, take a look at it, clean it out, and then I bet that it'll start pretty easily at that point. So let's figure out how to get this apart. get this thing apart, I'm starting to see a couple of things immediately that are problems here. So let me show you a couple of things. Actually, the first thing I saw, I had to remove the spark plug in order to get the cover off. And you know, let's see if we can get the focus here. The spark plug actually is pretty dry. It doesn't look terrible. So that tells me it's probably not getting fuel, which is what I suspected. As I look a little bit closer at the carburetor, a couple of things I see right away. Let me grab a light here. One of them is that the adjustment screws, these are basically like fuel metering screws you can see on top here, they have just regular flathead screwdriver slots on them, which is awesome. Many times these small engine carburetors have specialty screws for those metering screws, and you either need to get the fancy sockets for them or knock them out with a chisel and hammer and then cut a slot in them so you can use a screwdriver. But these ones are easy. They already have a screwdriver slot, so that's great. In many cases, I can get these small engines to run just by pulling those screws out, cleaning them, running them in and out a couple times to make sure that their bores are clean, and that's often enough to remove any restrictions and let gas get in the engine and get it to start. But there's a bigger problem on this engine, and that is that the fuel line, you can see the fuel hose here on the bench, when I touched it, it basically crumbled apart. So if you look up underneath the carburetor here, let's see, get my light in here. Where's a good spot? Yeah, you can see that there's still a bit of the fuel line sitting in there on the bottom, connecting to the carburetor, so I gotta pop that out. And it really goes right up here. You can see a little hole in the middle above where the fuel cap would be. There's a little bit of it sitting in there. But where that comes inside, it should be basically hanging down here and going into the gas, and there's nothing. So this carburetor is not even drawing gas because the fuel line is just wasted, crumbled apart. So the first thing that we need to do is replace that fuel line. And I might have some fuel line in my own collection, something that would work at least. So I'll see if I can MacGyver something together. Let's get a fuel line on it, then play with those metering screws to get any corrosion or gummy stuff out of there. And at that point, I'm crossing my fingers that it might actually start. So let's see. Okay, so I got this mostly back together now. I'll show you a couple of things that I found here, a couple of things that are back together. So first of all, this is a new fuel line. Kind of got it bent sharp there. I wonder if I can feed a little more down. Yeah, okay. So that's a new fuel line. The old fuel line here, you can see was like just totally rotted away. I mean, I tried to pull this off the carburetor and it just crumbled. And so I know that's a big part of the problem. We weren't able to get any fuel, just sucking air through there. So I put a new fuel line on here. Had to kind of drill the hole in the tank a little bit bigger to make that line fit. And then, let's see, do I have a light? Yeah, here's a light. And then you can see that it just like goes down in the tank into the gas. So that should get good fuel for us now. Another thing that I found here, let's see, so there's some wax inside the carburetor, little bits of a waxy substance. I'm not sure where that came from, but yeah, I mean, it's plugging stuff up. So we got that wax out of there, got the carburetor cleaned out, and also the fuel adjustment screw up on top. I got that loosened up and worked it back and forth, and so we should have good fuel coming in here now. Another thing that I noticed as I took this apart is that on top of the case here, so there's like an air filter, and this is just like falling apart. I tried to pull it out of here, and it's just like falling to pieces. So I'll get that out of there. At some point, maybe I'll get a new filter, probably not. But also I need to get access through here so I can get a screwdriver in and adjust the fuel flow valve on the carburetor. So anyhow, I got the carburetor back on it. I'm going to put the engine back together now and see if I can't get it to start. Well, I got the leaf blower back together, except that I did break one small thing while I was putting it together. So on the back here, this is the choke. Right now it's fully closed. It can go halfway open and then all the way open using this knob here that used to attach to the cover, but I broke one of the ears off of that, the part that this knob would attach to. So now, since this can't spin both ways, it can only push it that way. The knob isn't any good, so what I did is I just sliced the cover off so I can get in here with a finger or a screwdriver or something else and move that instead. But otherwise, it should function just how it is meant to, other than I just don't have that convenient knob anymore. So anyhow, now that it's back together, let's see if we can get this bad mamma jamma started. Well, it's back together, and I have the ignition switch turned to on. And let's turn the throttle all the way open like it says to. The choke is fully engaged. So now let's give it the required 940 pulls and see if we can't get it started. Oh. It actually started to kind of fire there. Oh, let's turn the choke off a little bit. Alright, so that's about the half position there. That's too far open. Without having that switch, it's a little hard to tell. Alright, let's read the instructions again. Ignition on, adjust throttle knob to fast, turn choke to on, hold handle with right hand, pull quickly until engine fires, turn choke knob to half, and pull starter handle until engine runs. After a 4-5 second warm up, turn choke knob to off. Alright, well, I tried to fire and now we're at the half, so. working. Let's go back to full closed. Alright, choke closed. Should we open this thing up and see what happens? Huh. Alright. Things are happening. Let's close the throttle. Go opener. Whew. Getting warm here. I think it's only been about 100 pulls, so shouldn't be starting yet. Close it back up. Turn the throttle on. Alright, into half choke. Getting tired. Huh. Huh. Alright. So I think that we're getting into some carburetor tuning here. Get a longer screwdriver. Alright, I am going to open up the fuel valve a little bit, see if that helps. Give it about a half turn. We're still at half choke. Alright, let's give it another quarter turn. Alright, give it a little choke back. Give her some more fuel. We're getting there. think we're getting somewhere. So this old piece of garbage does actually run. I think now I just need to take it out and use it for a bit and maybe make a couple small adjustments, but I think we're doing good here. I'll bet now, if I turn that back on, it's probably going to fire right back up. Alright, well there you have it. I didn't count the poles, but I bet that we are close to the advertised 940. But anyhow, it's an old leaf blower. Paid $5 for it. Put a little bit of time into it. No money. I didn't replace any gaskets or any pieces on this. I guess one piece I replaced was the steel hose, but that's just something off the shelf that I modified to make work. And it even came with gas, so I mean the gas it came with probably paid for the hose. But anyhow, I guess it's time to go and blow some leaves. So thank you for watching. I will see you next time.